Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down the biggest stories out there. And today, we are talking about a merger that's not just a business deal. No, this is a potential turning point for our entire species. SpaceX has officially acquired xAI. So let's just dive right in, starting with this absolutely mind-bending quote from the official announcement. Scaling to make a sentient sun. I mean, if that sounds like science fiction to you, it's because that's exactly the point. The ambition here is to literally turn sci-fi into an engineering plan. The news dropped on February 2nd, 2026, and it's pretty straightforward. SpaceX has bought xAI. Their goal? Well, they're aiming to create the most ambitious, vertically integrated innovation engine on and off Earth. Just like that, in a single move, a new titan of technology was born. And yeah, it's got the price tag to prove it. The combined value is a jaw-dropping $1.25 trillion. That makes it, by a huge margin, the most valuable private company on the planet. To put that in perspective, we're talking more than double its closest competitor. Just incredible. Okay, so to really get our heads around what this massive merger actually means, we're going to break it all down for you. We'll look at the what, the why, the how, and, the truly unbelievable what's next in this explainer. So, look, this isn't just two companies deciding to work together. This is a fusion. We're talking rockets, artificial intelligence, and a global, space-based internet all under one roof. Think about it. One company now controls the rocket to get to space, the satellite network in space, and the AI brain that's going to run on top of it all. Which brings us to the core problem this whole merger is trying to solve. You see, the explosive growth of AI is slamming into a very real, very physical wall right here on Earth. The huge data centers that act as the brains for all this AI, well, they need just immense amounts of electricity to run, and then even more to keep them from overheating. The announcement basically says this demand here on Earth is becoming completely unsustainable, and it's creating major bottlenecks for what AI can do next. And this slide really frames the whole thing perfectly. Here on Earth, AI is stuck with massive power bills and all sorts of regulations. But in space, you get near constant, totally free solar power. And for cooling, you just radiate the waste heat directly into the vacuum of space. There are no borders, no power grids to overload. It's a totally different game. So, the solution is as elegant as it is audacious. Just move the data centers themselves into orbit. Now, I know it sounds like something straight out of a movie, but the physics and the engineering behind it are surprisingly straightforward, as long as you have one very specific piece of technology. The whole process really breaks down into 3 simple steps. First, you need a rocket that's big enough to launch massive amounts of data center hardware. Second, you unfold huge solar arrays to soak up the sun's energy pretty much 24/7. And third, you just use the endless, cold vacuum of space as a giant, free, and perfectly efficient heatsink. And this is the key. This entire idea was basically a fantasy, both economically and physically, until one critical piece of the puzzle was unlocked: the Starship rocket. A fully and rapidly reusable rocket changes absolutely everything. I mean, the scale difference here is it's staggering. A Falcon 9 rocket, which has been the workhorse for the last decade, can lift about 22 tons. Starship, on the other hand, is designed for around 200 tons per flight, and it's built to be reused multiple times a day. It's not really a rocket anymore. It's more like a reusable cargo plane to orbit, and that is what makes the idea of launching millions of tons of hardware a year actually plausible. Okay, so the tech is wild, we get it. But how does this unbelievably ambitious plan actually turn into a multi-trillion-dollar business? Because it's not just about building their own AI. This strategy is basically to become the Amazon Web Services of the space age. The plan is to sell AI compute time on these orbital data centers to other companies, which would create a massive, continuous stream of revenue. Now, of course, the challenges are just as colossal as the vision. You've got everything from orbital maintenance and space debris to the huge geopolitical questions of one company controlling this much critical infrastructure. And it looks like the market is already buying into this vision. Before the merger, SpaceX was valued at $800 billion and xAI at $230 billion. You add that up, and you get just over $1 trillion. The new combined valuation of $1.25 trillion means the market sees over $200 billion in immediate value just from the synergy of putting these two powerhouses together. So let's zoom out for a second, because this whole plan builds towards a vision that goes way beyond just faster AI or a profitable company. This is being framed as the very first step in humanity's next chapter. And this is where the ambition goes completely off the charts. The stated goal is to become what's known as a Kardashev Type 2 civilization. That's a civilization that can harness the entire power output of its star. The announcement even says that launching a fleet of orbital data centers is the first practical step towards making that happen. And they've actually laid out this incredible roadmap. The orbital AI data centers launched this decade are meant to provide the cash and the tech for factories on the moon in the 2030s. Then, those factories, using lunar resources in low gravity, will build the infrastructure needed for a self-sustaining civilization on Mars in the 2040s and beyond. So, when you boil it all down, AI in space becomes the economic engine that pays for making humanity a multiplanetary species. It's the business plan that funds the dream of expanding the light of consciousness out to the stars. At the end of the day, this merger between SpaceX and xAI is so much more than a business deal. It's a bold, unified, and startlingly direct plan for the future. And whether it actually succeeds or not, it forces all of us to ask, what kind of future are we really building? And how far are we actually willing to reach?